We'll be showing 3 different systems today that produce extra energy. There's a lot of names for it out there: free energy, cosmic energy, zero-point energy, etc., etc. This one here, we'll demonstrate it running on batteries, and then hopefully demonstrate it running with just capacitors. I've done it before. This is an old model we built. This is over 10 years old, this model. It's been rebuilt twice. Anyway, we'll start out, we'll show the batteries at a certain level, and then after it runs, it'll be flashing the lights and heating the resistors, and after it runs, it'll be at a higher level on the batteries, and then we'll take the batteries completely out of the circuit, assuming we're successful and run it with just capacitors. The main challenge there is that I don't electrocute myself because it's high voltage we're dealing with here.
I see.
Very high voltage.
Now, what is that you're touching there?
This is a meter, Craftsman. It's 82014. It's an amp clamp type meter. It measures amperage just by going over the line. Okay. This is WaveTech. Let me look at the model here. WaveTech DM27XT. We'll measure voltage with it. Great. And shall we go ahead and do a close-up on the meter then?
Absolutely. It's fired up.
Okay.
Now, what should it be doing?
It should be reading about 711 volts. Now, be real careful you don't bump anything with your leg.
No problem.
You could wind up fried. That wouldn't be good. Okay.
So the voltage that's coming out right now is coming from this series of 9-volt batteries.
Get that in if you can. Okay, 713 volts, 714. It's flipping between the two. Okay. Okay. Now, we're going to run it for a minute or so, and then we're going to measure it again, and you'll see the voltage is higher than it was when we started. While we're running it, we'll take a reading on the amperage. Let me get this zeroed in. Decent.
Now, what should the amperage be coming out right now?
We'll zero it. It'll be low.
Because these batteries don't put much amperage.
Let me go ahead and start it first. Now, we don't want to remember it was 713. Right. Okay. There's Ron. The lights are flashing over here. I'm zeroing in the meter.
And this big cylinder here, this big gray cylinder, what is that?
That's the generator, main part of the generator. Okay. The rest of it's tuning, basically, and a load. Okay, we got it. Motor second. We got it pretty. Oh, we got it zeroed in there. Okay, you see, you got it in there. Right. Okay, it's not perfect. We're getting some effect here, but anyway. Okay, now we're drawing about point. It goes from like 0.4, 0.6, 0.3. It's actually changed. The reason it's reading differently is because the pulsing going backwards into the battery, it's negative, by the way. Okay. Pulsing going backwards into the battery is brief, so it doesn't catch it all the time. But when it catches it, it always reads negative, never reads positive. You'll notice it never reads positive. Right. And if you average all these readings out, you get about 0.05. Excuse me, 0.05, which times the voltage on the battery pack is about 35 watts. Okay. So
it's putting out 35 watts of power.
Yeah, roughly. Okay. And we're going to stop it and see the voltage again, see that it went up. It's run for a sufficient length of time.
Okay. And this here, is this a capacitor?
Those are capacitors. Okay. Yeah. There's 2 of them there. There's a little yellow one and a...
There's a little yellow one. Okay. So we're disconnecting the batteries.
Well, we're taking another reading.
I see.
See, we started at 7. You want to zoom in here? We started at
711.
711. Now we're at 728. Okay. So the battery voltage went up. Well, actually, it was 713. The battery voltage went up about 15 volts. Okay. In that period of time, and it's flashing between the 8 and the 7. That's normal. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start it up again, and we're going to attempt to switch it right to capacitors with no batteries at all. Okay.
What's the significance of the energy rising in the batteries?
It shows the batteries are being charged. Okay. Not only did the amp clamp show it by showing negative all the time, but also the voltage shows it by going up.
And that's coming out of that component.
It's actually coming from everywhere. It comes from all matter, and there's a primary flow throughout the universe of dominant energy, which is also called cosmic energy or free energy or stage 3 energy.
That's just a huge coil specially tuned.
There's actually 5 inductors on this coil. There's 5 different coils, if you want to say it that way.
Okay.
And they're all tuned special, yeah, to make it work.
I see.
Yeah, there's, yeah. Okay, now is where we try to run it on capacitors. I think we can do it. Let's see, I need another jumper wire. Hold on, let me get another wire here.
Okay.
That should be great. If you can make yourself up and work with easy, use the low grid or switch them around.
Yeah. This is true.
Okay. All right. We're going to connect right in here, which is essentially on the minus.
Okay.
We're going to connect to the capacitor.
All right.
And then we're going to do the other connection also. And then we'll disconnect the battery.
Okay.
And we'll actually try to remove the battery completely from the circuit.
Okay.
Hold on a second. I need another wire.
Okay.
Okay, capacitors are in the circuit now. Batteries are out of the circuit. Slowed down just a little,
Okay.
which shows you that capacitors aren't quite as efficient as batteries. That's why it slowed down. You both heard that probably.
Sure.
But it's still running.
So you lose about 10 or 20% of your efficiency from capacitors versus batteries. Is that right?
Yeah, that's about right.
Okay.
And I'm going to attempt to pull this off here without electrocuting myself.
Okay.
There we go.
Very good.
There we go.
So the batteries are out of the system.
Yes,
And we have right now a self-sustaining power supply.
that's correct.
Can this be scaled up?
Oh yeah, we've already done it. Run cars and houses. This is a delay line motor. This is one of the earliest ones we built. This is over 10 years old.
Now, what does the term delay line motor mean?
Well, it's actually a delay line generator, but the anything that sits and rotates, people like to call them motors. Technically it's a delay line generator. A generator means it generates electricity. A motor means it produces mechanical motion, which this does produce mechanical motion. So, technically, it's a motor and a generator.
Okay.
You could load the shaft, which I'm doing right now. Now, normally these capacitors, if there wasn't enough power being produced, if it was just running on capacitors, these things would be dead in less than 2 or 3 seconds.
Okay.
And if you loaded it, it would be done dead in half a second.
You bet.
Now, we're actually loading it, and anybody's welcome to put their finger on it. Just
give it a squeeze?
Just don't overdo it.
Would you like to touch it?
No, okay.
Not right now.
Yeah,
Okay.
but anyway, you get the idea. You can load it. You can hear it slowing down.
It's still juicing.
But it's still going.
Can you give me the theory on this real quick?
Well, energy is very, very abundant in nature. It's in what's called the ether, or substrate of the universe, or 0 point.
It's in the environment.
It's in the environment, and basically there is a way to harness it. It's not electrical in its primary state, and that's what confuses people. The main expression we're used to is gravity. We do see it in the storms. A storm is a free-ranging stage 3 device, same thing as this. A storm and this are both. Well, this is stage 1 of stage 3, and the storm is stage 1 of stage 3, because you don't have stage 3 until you get it stable. You get it totally continuous. Storms are continuously arcing. Big, huge arcs we call lightning. And that's the expression of the substrate of the universe. And there's billions and billions of watts being expended every minute on this planet. There's something like 200 storms going on all the time on this planet. And there's lots and lots of lightning being every second. Big, huge bolts of lightning, millions and billions and trillions of watts of power.
And your device doesn't seem to be slowing down at all.
No, it's.
Now, is this putting out electricity?
Yeah.
Or just maintaining itself?
It converts the dominant into electrical energy.
What would have to be done to make this a power supply? Would you have to boost the large generator that you have here, or is it a matter of your capacitors? What would you have to do?
It's got to be re-engineered a little bit.